Hi everyone, this is Jay and I'm here with Van, and today we're going to continue our discussion of my book Start, and we're going to focus on lesson number 5. Lesson number 5 is God reveals himself as the ultimate Father. Again, God reveals himself as the ultimate Father. So Van, as we get started, what words do you associate with your biological father? Even if you had to choose 3 or 4 words or expressions, what comes to mind?
Well, I guess I would think of the words hardworking. He absolutely worked hard and taught me how to do the same. He was an influencer, meaning, he was really the life of the party, always had something to say, always had a joke, people loved him. And then I suppose one negative thing I could say is he was a little bit distant in some ways. So those are the 3 things: hardworking, influential, and in some ways distant.
Yeah, and for me it might be hardworking. We both mentioned that, which is a wonderful thing to witness in a father. I think we have a lot to learn in that regard as we're growing up. I would say provider. I think that my dad was an amazing provider. And maybe along the same lines as distant, I would say uncommunicative, or maybe I should say non-communicative. I had a hard time connecting with him at a heart level. So Van, as a follow-up question, how did those words or those impressions of your earthly father, your biological dad, impact the way that you viewed God growing up?
I think that what that taught me about my relationship with God is one that he's real and has some kind of expectation for me to do good, to work hard, and that maybe he even provides. But then what's interesting is that I didn't see or understand my relationship with God. Like, that was kind of non-existent, that it was distant. And so that's interesting how that relates to my relationship with my dad.
Yeah, and Van, I think you're touching on an important point. We might have said this in our last podcast, but I think that we have this tendency to project our thoughts and feelings that we have towards certain father figures, authority figures, but particularly our biological fathers, to project that onto God. So I had a very similar experience. My dad was present and he was a provider, so I think that just intuitively growing up, when I learned that God was the creator and he provided for all of us, that was very natural for me to believe. I didn't resist that, but the thought that God was a personal, communicative being that was talking to me very directly, very personally, very warmly, being very interested not only in my behavior but what was going on inside my heart, that was very foreign to me. And I don't want to lay all of that at the feet of my earthly father, but I do believe that there's a very profound connection between authority figures, parents, and our understanding of God in our own heads, particularly as we're transitioning through our teenage years and into young adulthood. So what Van and I are going to do now is we're going to talk about one of the most profound thoughts in all of Scripture, is that God reveals himself as the ultimate Father.